What if I told you that the way you think about getting older might be more powerful than your genetics, more powerful than your diet, and more powerful than almost any pill in your medicine cabinet? A groundbreaking study out of Yale, tracking nearly 4,000 adults from age 19 all the way to 94, just uncovered something doctors are calling one of the most surprising discoveries in aging science. Nearly half of adults over 65 actually improved, not declined, in their memory, their thinking, or their physical health over just a few years. And the one thing separating the people who got better from the people who didn't? It wasn't luck. It wasn't money. It was simply how they felt about their own aging. Let that sink in. Your beliefs about growing older may be quietly shaping your biology right now, whether you realize it or not. My name is Mike, and welcome back to the channel. Every week I break down the newest medical research in plain, simple language so you can stay sharp, strong, and independent for as many years as possible. If that matters to you, hit subscribe now because today's topic could change how you think about aging forever. For decades, most of us have been handed the same tired story about getting older. You turn 60, and suddenly the assumption is that everything starts going downhill. Your memory gets a little worse every year. Your body gets a little weaker every year. It's just the natural order of things, and there's nothing you can do about it except try to slow the decline. I want you to forget that story completely, because new research is proving it wrong in a way that's almost hard to believe. Researchers at Yale School of Public Health followed nearly 4,000 adults ranging from 19 years old all the way up to 94, tracking their cognitive and physical health over a period of 3 years. This wasn't a small casual survey. This was rigorous, peer-reviewed science, led by a respected researcher named Becca Levy and published in the journal Geriatrics. What they found should be front-page news everywhere, but almost nobody is talking about it. Among adults 65 and older, 45% actually improved in at least one major area of health. Not stayed the same, improved. 32% showed measurable improvement in cognitive function, things like memory, focus, and mental sharpness. 28% showed real improvement in physical function, things like strength, mobility, and balance. Now, if you're anything like most people, your first reaction to hearing 45% of older adults got better might be confusion. How is that even possible? We've been told our whole lives that aging is a one-way street heading downhill. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating and honestly, a little bit life-changing if you let it sink in properly. The researchers didn't just measure who improved and who didn't. They also measured something much harder to quantify. They measured what people believed about their own aging. Did they see growing older as a period of inevitable decline, something to be feared and endured? Or did they see it as a stage of life that still held potential for growth, learning, and even improvement? And what they found was striking. The people who held more positive attitudes about their own aging were significantly more likely to be in that group who showed real, measurable gains in memory and physical function. In other words, the story people were telling themselves about what it means to get older appeared to be shaping the actual, physical, biological outcome of their aging process. Let me say that again in a different way, because I think it deserves to be repeated. This wasn't just about people feeling more optimistic and therefore reporting that they felt better. These were objective, measurable tests of cognitive performance and physical function. Real numbers, real data. And the pattern held. Belief and biology were connected in a way that science is only now beginning to properly understand. So why would this happen? How could simply believing something about your own future actually influence whether your brain and body get stronger or weaker? Let me walk you through what researchers believe may be happening, because once you understand the mechanism, this stops sounding like wishful thinking and starts sounding like real, actionable science. First, consider behavior. If you believe your 70s are going to be a period of managed decline, what do you actually do with that belief, even without realizing it? You might quietly stop pushing yourself physically, assuming there's no point. You might stop trying to learn new things, assuming your brain has already peaked. You might turn down invitations, skip the walk, skip the puzzle, skip the new hobby, because deep down you've already decided the outcome. On the other hand, if you believe your best years for growth are still ahead of you, you're far more likely to actually get up and move, engage your brain, and stay socially active. And all three of those things, physical activity, mental stimulation, and social connection, are among the most well-established protective factors against cognitive and physical decline in the entire body of aging research. In this way, belief doesn't just sit quietly in your head. It shapes your daily choices, and those daily choices shape your biology. Second, there's a growing body of research suggesting that chronic stress, including the kind of quiet background stress that comes from constantly worrying about decline, may actually accelerate biological aging at a cellular level. If you spend your 60s, 70s, and 80s bracing yourself for loss, dreading what's coming next, and viewing every small, forgetful moment as proof that you're falling apart, that ongoing stress response may be working against you in ways that are measurable in the body, from inflammation levels to markers of cellular aging. Meanwhile, people who approach aging with a sense of curiosity and possibility tend to carry a lower baseline of that chronic stress, which may partly explain why their bodies and minds hold up better over time. Third, and this one is deeply human, belief affects effort, and effort compounds over time. Think about learning a new skill, recovering from an injury, or even sticking with a new exercise routine. If you believe improvement is possible, you try harder, you're more patient with setbacks, and you're more likely to stick with it long enough to see results. If you believe decline is inevitable no matter what you do, it becomes very easy to give up at the first sign of difficulty. Over months and years, that difference in persistence adds up to a real, measurable difference in outcomes. This is exactly the kind of compounding effect the Yale researchers may be capturing in their data. Now, I want to be very careful here because I don't want you to walk away from this thinking that positive thinking alone is some kind of magic cure that replaces medical care, exercise, or proper nutrition. It does not. Believing you'll stay sharp does not replace getting your blood pressure checked. Believing you'll stay strong does not replace resistance training or a proper diet. This research is not telling you to ignore your health and just think happy thoughts instead. What it is telling you is something far more practical and, frankly, more empowering. Your mindset about aging appears to be one more genuine evidence-based lever you can pull alongside diet, exercise, and medical care to actually influence your long-term health outcomes. And unlike a lot of other health interventions, this one costs nothing, has no side effects, and is available to you starting today. So what does this actually look like in real life? Let me give you a few simple, practical steps based on what this research suggests. First, start paying attention to the story you tell yourself about your own aging. When you forget a name or feel a new ache in your knee, do you immediately think, well, that's it, I'm falling apart? Or can you reframe it as a normal, manageable part of a body that is still capable of getting stronger? That small shift in self-talk matters more than most people realize. Second, actively look for evidence that challenges the decline narrative. Seek out stories of people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s who are still learning new skills, traveling, exercising, and thriving. Let those stories become your new definition of what this stage of life can look like. Third, treat your 60s, 70s, and beyond as a period where growth is still genuinely possible, not just physically, but mentally and socially too. Take the class, learn the instrument, join the group. Every one of those choices reinforces a mindset that this research suggests may be protecting your brain and body at the same time. And fourth, surround yourself, as much as you can, with people who share that same forward-looking attitude about aging, because attitudes are contagious, and the people around you shape the story you tell yourself every single day. Here's the truth I want you to leave with today. For most of your life, you've probably been told that aging is simply something that happens to you, a slow, inevitable slide that you can only try to slow down. But this research suggests something far more hopeful and far more empowering. The way you think about your own future may be quietly shaping that future, cell by cell, choice by choice. You are not just a passenger in your own aging process. In a very real, scientifically measurable way, you may be one of the authors of it. If this changed the way you think about getting older, even a little, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, especially anyone who talks about their age like it's a countdown instead of a chapter. And if you want more research-backed content like this to help you stay sharp, strong, and independent for years to come, make sure you're subscribed, because there is so much more I want to share with you.